Dominant, well, it was a summer car, and this is how people got their air conditioning. They would actually go out and ride the trolley during the day if too hot at home. So, and you can notice the crowd on here. Notice they're all in suit and tie, too. They're on the way to a Yale game, probably a Princeton or Harvard. And they actually rode on this upper rail. This lower step was primarily for the conductor to collect the fares, if he could collect the fares. And again, these seats just change. Just flip them over, we're heading the other way. Now, these traveled, and I can remember slightly as a young one, I would go on Chapel Street, had an aunt that lived across from the hospital, and so I would go up there and go out, and as these cars come by, you'll scramble, and they throw some change out to you. Oh. So, not much, but pick up a buck. So this is it, and like I said, it was up to the conductor to traverse the lower rail to try and collect all the fares. It does hold quite a few people. You figure probably 7 people per seat, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, maybe 70 people. But even at 5 cents a piece, you ain't got that much. Our Rhode Island car, now the thing here is this was a single truck car. It was probably a horse car. And then when Mr. Sprague invented the electric motor, after Edison came up with his DC, they started putting the motors underneath. Now people started riding, because a horse-drawn car you could walk alongside at the same speed, and unless you were going a long distance, you didn't bother with it.
How many horses do you take to pull it?
Well, it depends. Generally 2. But they had to be changed every 8 miles, and if you came to a hill, you had to add 2 more horses. The average person couldn't afford to board a horse. So they were obligated, if they wanted to go somewhere, to use the trolley. So this one is from Rhode Island. This is the Connecticut company car. This car here, originally from Lynchburg, Virginia. It's an open air, it's a horse car. That handle there on the right-hand side is the brake. And they always have to warn the children, because if the brake came undone from its lap, it spun around, and it would wipe people out. So everything was very mechanical, but that was a horse car converted to an electric car. And it saw life originally in Lynchburg, Virginia. Now, during the winter it was there too, so they couldn't use it. So what they did is they took a few of these cars and gave them to New Jersey, where they traversed the beaches of Wildwood back and forth, a perfect fit. When it came here in the 50s with New Jersey colors and labeling, and it was in 1977, the museum decided they're going to put it back. They take on these projects because they can get expensive. So we thank everybody for their support. But they'll say in the beginning what they're going to do and try and stick to it. Now this was an answer to 2 things. This car here is from Montreal. So this answered 2 things. The other side of the car is solid. But notice these latches here. These panels came off. This was an open air car on one side. So this is how they beat it. They get warm days up there too. So they can take these panels off. Solid on one side, open air on the other. Now during the winter time, the panels went back on, but it gets cold up there. So this is a coal burning stove. Oh, yeah. To keep the passengers warm. I'll tell you though, we start here and, well, we run events throughout the year. But the heaters in those electric cars are phenomenal. I couldn't believe it. They're phenomenal. You know? So anyway, that's it. You'll notice when they had train wrecks and people died, they really didn't die from the wreck as much as they died from the ensuing fire from the stoves they had in the car, because it's all wood. The big thing was enclosing the motorman. Notice the motorman is out in the open here, but then as they started using up motormen, they started saying, well, we have to enclose them. So those are some of the things that drove the advancements or progress. Also on this one, this here is, we would know it as maybe a cow catcher, but this was a people catcher. I don't know, I don't think I'd lay down in the middle of the street. The fella that invented that in order to sell it allowed himself to be scooped up a few times. Our shop is closed today, but we can do anything here that anybody